Okay, hello everyone. Um, so to begin with, you're gonna want to go to channel settings, press reload MOTDs, and access to these little things right there, which are the channel MOTDs. You have the corporation folder for the bookmarks here, and you have the link to the Tripwire website here. Make sure you press L to open the saved location in the system window, which is a very helpful window, and place it somewhere in your user interface. Okay. Now, let's go to Tripwire. Okay. When you arrive on Tripwire, you need to register as a user. So once this is done, you can click here, go to Tripwire, and it's going to bring you to this window over here. And in this window, what you will want to do as your first step to have access to the chain will be to go in settings, to account settings, and then in personal, you will search Bob's Watch, search. It should give you a result. You will select it and add it, and it's gonna display this icon and the text Bob's Watch underneath. So you will select this one, not this one that says Corp. This one is not the right one. You need to search for the one called Bob's Watch. And you can press save. Okay. Now we're gonna try to find a wormhole to start navigating through a chain. When you scan, you want to usually start with a wider scan, like 8 AU. A nice way to do it is you double click on the signature that you want to scan to center it on both axes, and then you double click in the background to switch X and Y axis. You don't actually need to flip around like this because it makes like dragging your probes more annoying. So yeah, always work in 2 axes. Let's keep going into our search for a wormhole to start a chain from. Okay. Next, when you go in Tripwire, you go to your settings. You have connected to what is called a mask, which is basically like our little corp shared database. You will collapse this and open preferences instead. You will make sure that here you have in chain map node reference you have selected signature ID, and in show route as blobs up to you select off, and then you have this little slider here as well, which will adjust to the size of your monitor. I like mine at 1.05 because you can see it takes like the most of my monitor without me having to scroll, or yeah. Then you can press save. Oop. Is there a wormhole in this system? Watch this video become a meme of me being unable to find a wormhole for half an hour. No wormhole yet? Let's keep going. Alright. So, once that we have set up everything correctly in Tripwire, let's go around some functionalities that Tripwire offers. One thing you might want to do is go in here and add tracking to your character. So you press add, and then you press authorize, and it's gonna read your locations, your ship type, and all that. So what that allows us to do is you can basically see here when I hover my mouse over the little like head over there, we can see that Oben Bane is in an Estero in the C2 over there. So that's what tracking allows us to do, is to see where people are and what ship they are in. It also gives you access to these two functions here, follow my in-game system, which means you can see when you click on a system, it selects it. In the chain, it gets highlighted in blue, and the name gets displayed in this box as well. Follow my in-game system means that if I am in this system and I switch and I go back into home, for instance, it will automatically select home when it detects me in this system. Toggle auto mapper means that if, for instance, I fill in Tripwire by telling it that there is a wormhole called a purely hypothetical signature ID that is a C3. You can see here I cannot select it. All I know is that in this wormhole there is a C3 wormhole that I have identified, but I do not know what system it leads to. I will need to jump into it for me to identify. When you toggle automapper, what's gonna happen is if it's the only C3 in the system, it will automatically tell you which system you are in, and it will automatically switch this system to the system that you entered. So this system will become something that you can click that is identified with a system name like this. If there are multiple C3s, it's gonna bring a pop-up box that's gonna ask you which one you entered by asking you the signature ID. So if it's AAA something, or ABC, or ZDY, whatever. So now we can delete this one because it's not actually there. Also, you have, when you hover your mouse over there, you can see that the lines, they give you the status of the connection. So if you hover over there, you have the full blue line, which is a stable connection without any status, just like the standard. A dotted line is end of life. Mass destabilized is yellow, mass critical is red, and a frigate connection, which only small ships can go through, is green. Mass critical means that the mass limit allowed in the wormhole is near and it's soon going to collapse. And mass destab means that we are halfway to that point. Alright. Let's try and find another wormhole somewhere. Another cool function of Tripwire is you can flare wormholes. You have the flare here option. You can flare them in red, in which case they will appear in red, or in yellow, or in green. I mean, they are pre-associated with some like battle hold or fleet up, but you can basically just tell like, hey, I've got an Orca in the green system, and whatever, it works no matter what. You simply reselect it to reset. So basically, if someone says there's a fight in the low sec, I need help, then everyone can look at Tripwire and know exactly where they need to go to come help you. So they know that from home they need to take the bookmark C3 SAL, and from the C3 SAL they need to take the bookmark called LSIJY. Okay, maybe we're gonna have our wormhole here. Okay, we have a wormhole here. So let's pretend that a Coro, the system iCoro, is our home hole. So in Tripwire, you have something called tabs here. When you press plus over here, you can create a tab like this one. And what happens when you do that is it fixes the system for which you create the tab at the top of the pyramid chain. So basically, let's delete all that. Those are the auto tracking, just tracking the systems that I'm going through. Okay, so we are in iCoro, right? So we are going to create a tab from the system iCoro. In the name you can enter whatever. In system you need to enter iCoro. You can see here if I enter iCoro, it identifies it in the database. So that when I select the right thing, that means the link is made with Tripwire. So let's pretend this is home, right? Here I have a home tab. That's the home system iCoro. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click in here. Control A will select the whole list. Then I'm gonna press Control C. Then I go in Tripwire and I press Control V. And you can see here, it detects that EIA 564, EIA 564, the signature, is a wormhole. It tells me by default that the mass in life is stable. It does not know where it leads. It also identifies a data site, but that's not important. Let's go to the wormhole. I have actually initiated warp to the wormhole already. So here we are. So the wormholes you can identify by how they look, by their color, basically. So let's go and figure out which one this one is. When I go in the home system tab, when I select the home system in the chain, you can see there is a section for nodes for each system. You can enter whatever you want in there. But for home, I have entered a guide on how to bookmark, example of bookmarks, and multiple guides, including a guide to a wormhole identification guide. So I'm going to go there. And here we can see each class of wormholes, how they look like. It can seem intimidating at first, but after just a few times using it, you will know them all by heart. Oh, that looks pretty much like what we have in front of us. It's a class 3 wormhole. All of this is provided by Ashi. It's Ashi's blog. There is the link in the corp MOTDs as well if you need to go back here. It's a very helpful resource. So this is what we have in front of us here, C3. So the way we will bookmark is you need to be on grid with the wormhole to properly bookmark it. You can either right click here from the hole in space or right click here from the hole in the overview. The reason being, if I do it from here, save location, whatever, you can see it will create the bookmark here. And when I warp, I will warp here, which is far from the wormhole, and it might lead to you dying unnecessarily or showing up on dscan for too long or whatever. So you do not create the bookmark here. You want to create the bookmark on the wormhole itself. Let's select the right folder, right? We have the folders for the corporation online. We have wormholes, tactical bookmarks, bookmarks for sites. We will select wormholes. So the way we name the wormholes, to make it simple, is basically just the class 3, as we've just identified, and then the signature, EIA. There you go. The wormhole is bookmarked, and you can see the location is in the window that I told you about, like the L window, save location in current system. Okay. Now, something I can do is go back in Tripwire and... Oh, wait. Oh, I have like 10 windows of that thing open. Okay, go back to Tripwire, select the system that I'm in, and I can just type C in there, and it displays all the classes, and I can identify it as a class 3. It doesn't know what system it is, but it knows that it's a class 3. And now I'm gonna go in it. Okay, I'm in a wormhole. First thing I need to do is save my location. For this corp, the location to go back towards home will be an asterisk, so it's always at the top of the list, and if you want to go back home, you just warp to the asterisk bookmark. Okay, the second thing you want to do is open your scanner, look what the system looks like, check around for stations. There's none on my directional D-scan, and there is a possibility for one there, but there is not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna initiate warp to like a moon or something. As I launch my probes and cloak, and the probes, you can see they're on D-scan now. You don't want people to see that, so you send them off like in the distance over there. So once they're gonna be there, no one will see that you have probes in the system. Now, if you don't see anyone in the system, it's fine, I guess, for you to start scanning. But if you saw someone in the system that you want to kill, you don't show him your probes, because then he will know that you're there. Alright, so let's start scanning. I'm bringing my probes back. I'm starting with a wide scan here. Meanwhile, let's see what Tripwire did when we jumped in this wormhole. You can see that without any input on my end, Tripwire added this C3 and it created the link to the system that I am now in, which is J132525. Alright, let's scan the system. We have another wormhole. I can warp to it while I am still scanning. Let's just keep scanning this while we go identify that other wormhole. Another one here. Alright, so I know that this is a class 1 wormhole, and you can see the signature ID here, ZIE. C1ZIE. You can check here for the any effects like the lifetime, the and the mass on it. It will be these two paragraphs, basically. So this one is fine. It's not end of life, or it's not critical mass or anything. All right, let's warp to the other one while we scan the last signature. So you can see C1ZIE because it's a class 1 wormhole, and the signature here, it's ZIE, right? Okay, here we have a null security space, and it's a frigate hull. You can see like the blue aura around it. That means it's a frigate hull. You can also identify them by types here, Q003. Actually, it's the only way Tripwire can display a frigate hull is if you enter the type. So nullsec for nullsec, MMI for the sig, and then frig for the status. Alright, we have another wormhole here. So here we have identified everything in the system. So what we can do is click, Control A, Control C, go back to Tripwire, Control V, and now we can start identify, like we know that MMI is a type Q003, that's a frigate hull nullsec. You can see the line is in green, and it identifies as a nullsec here. ZIE was a class 1, as we remember. So we identify it as a class 1. Uh, this one is a low sec. Also, the type will tell you the class when you get to know them. Like U210 is a low sec as well. So this is going to take us to low sec. We said it's a WEU, right? Okay, so here we have a problem. We have an extra wormhole here, J and K, and we have this thing here that has no ID. It just says question marks and hashtags. So it's pretty easy to see that here, not even having scanned this wormhole, our return bookmark is on this signature. So this is the return wormhole, right? This is where we come from. It's automatically created by Tripwire when you enter the wormhole, but Tripwire has no way to tell which one of the signatures in the system will be your return hole, so you have to tell it. So we just simply go back here, double click here, and fill in JNK133, and since it's already existing here, it's gonna ask you to override it, and that's how you know you haven't made any typo. You just press enter twice. It's gonna delete the old one and swap it to the return hole. There we go. Now the chain is starting to look like something. Let's go in the class 1 wormhole next. Let's warp to the class 1 wormhole. Let's go in it. Let's see what Tripwire does. You can see I'm entering the wormhole. Boom, there you go. Tripwire automatically updated it, followed the system, selected it, and it created the return wormhole, right? So that's the link right there to the previous wormhole I'm coming from, no ID. I create my return bookmark. You can see there's already probes in there actually. Someone is scanning right now. So once again, I cloak up. I guess I will start scanning because I don't have anything to hunt this person with. So I'll just start scanning. Usually on the first scan you can tell which one is your return wormhole. Yeah, so the return wormhole in this case, yeah, it's gonna be this one, ARK690, because it's the closest to our return. ARK690, boom. We have a relic site over, data site over there. Let's scan the system. You can also check which part is this guy is scanning. Where are his probes? His probes are over there right now, so. Oh, this is a data site. So we have a wormhole here. Another wormhole. ZPP was a high sec. BSO was a frigate all through nullsec. ONN was a class 2 wormhole. This is a class 2 wormhole as well, LXJ. Alright, let's go through the high sec. So this is how you scan and navigate the chain. Basically, we have made all our bookmarks from home associated with the type and the signature ID prefix that they are linked to, which means someone from home could easily come to that high sec simply by following the bookmarks that we have made, meaning in home it will go to the C3EIA bookmark, then to the C1ZIE bookmark, and then to the HiSec ZPP bookmark. That will be his route, and here we are in this HiSec. So we have just traveled about from Icoro to the system that I am in is about 24 jumps in 3 jumps, 4 jumps, 3 jumps actually. So yeah, welcome to Wormhole space. You can also use Tripwire to see the routes, shortest routes and all that. So if I want to know how close each of these systems are to JITA, I simply enter JITA. You can see here I have selected JITA, and when I press here it's gonna tell me this system is 12 jumps from JITA. Oh, okay, we've just heard the whole fire, so I guess we can tell who is behind us now. Let's wait and see. My bet will be on it's gonna be this guy, Slotty65RU. Let's wait. He is on his decloak timer, I think. Yep, there you go. Oh no, it was actually Alexandru, JLA Industries. Alright, so you can tell 12 jumps from JITA. And also if you go back there and select the entire cluster, you can see all the jumps that it considers to be 13 jumps. So it makes you pass through 2 low sec systems and whole high sec systems for the rest. Or if you just wanted to tell you the number of jumps, it's like this. You can also favorite JITA. You can also add Amar, favorite Amar, and select adding favorite systems to chain, and now it's gonna tell you like the number of jumps to each. They also crosstalk to each other, so the game and Tripwire. So if I have no waypoint and I want to go to Icoro, I right click navigation set destination, and it sets my destination to that system, Icoro, in game. You can also what else? I meant to say something. So yeah, if I want to go back to Icoro, I simply follow the asterisk bookmark like this. So I'm gonna go back home now, basically. Oh yes, now I know what I meant to say. Now we're back home, so I will leave you on these last things that Tripwire can do. On Tripwire you have a link here to Anoikis, which is a website I don't really use often. It just tells you what the systems are and what they have in them and whatnot. You have Dotlan, which is somewhat helpful, and the one I use the most, zKillboard, which tells you what's the PvP activity that happened, or PvE for that matter, in the system that you have selected. So if I want to see the kills in C1 ZIE, zKillboard, it takes me to that system, and I know that 27th of June this guy died and whatever. Also, if you check the little guide here, how to bookmark, so as we said, it's the class, and then the sig ID prefix in uppercase letters, and the whole status in lowercase letters to differentiate, and you bookmark the return holes as an asterisk. You have the guide to the wormhole identification guide once again on Ashi's blog, and you have a Tripwire tutorial once again on Ashi's blog if you need to refresh your memory and maybe I did miss something that she covers. And then you have a link to the wormhole attributes, most likely to identify. You will want to use that to identify the type of the wormhole to the mass that it has in order to roll wormholes and whatnot. So this concludes this little video to explain Tripwire and basic wormhole navigation. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope it will serve you well. Goodbye.